Just moments ago, President Trump took questions on his way to Quantico, Virginia, to speak to those military leaders. Take a listen to what he told reporters.
If there is a shutdown, how many federal workers do you plan to lay off?
Well, we may do a lot, and that's only because of the Democrats. And as you know, they want to be able to take care of people that have come into our country illegally, and no system can handle that. And so we're totally opposed on that. But we can't take it. We just can't do it. I'd love to do everybody. I'd love to do the whole world. But our country can't handle people that come into our country illegally. And they want to give them full health care benefits. They want to open the wall again. Can you believe it? I can't even believe it. They want to open the wall. They haven't taken away boys playing in women's sports. They haven't done that. Men playing in women's sports. It's like they don't change. They lost an election in a landslide, and they don't change.
How long do you plan to give Hamas to respond to the ceasefire proposal you laid out?
Well, we're going to do about 3 or 4 days. We'll see how it is. All of the Arab countries are signed up. The Muslim countries are all signed up. Israel's all signed up. We're just waiting for Hamas. And Hamas is either going to be doing it or not. And if it's not, it's going to be a very sad end.
And do you have a deadline, Mr. President? Is there room to negotiate, or is this a take it or leave it deal? Is there room to negotiate with Hamas, or is this a take it or leave it deal?
You know, with Hamas, we want very simple. We want the hostages back immediately. And we want some good behavior. And, you know, it's pretty simple. You don't get simpler. Think of it. We've signed every country in the Middle East. This was like an impossible thing. It's never been done before. This is more than Gaza. Gaza was big stuff. But Gaza is a piece of it.
And if they reject the deal, you said that Israel has your backing to do whatever they need to do. What do you envision that
I will let them go and do what they have to do. They can do it pretty easily. I would let them go and do what they have to do. You know, we've killed about 25,000 Hamas. So certainly they paid a big price for October 7th. And this is a whole new group. You know, they come in and they come in and they keep coming. But this is a whole different group. And their leadership has been killed 3 different times. So they paid a big price. We hope that they're going to have a nice, calm life. Maybe it won't happen. But if it does, it'll be one of the greatest things ever to happen. We'll have actual peace in the Middle East.
Are you preparing to take strikes against drug gangs in Venezuela, sir?
We'll see what happens with Venezuela. Venezuela has been very dangerous with drugs and with other things. And they've been very, very dangerous. So we'll see what happens with Venezuela. We had a lot of drugs coming in through water. We call it water drugs, just a simple term. We don't have any boats on the water. There are no boats. There are no fishing boats. There are no anything. So we hit a number of boats. You probably saw that. And since we did that, we have absolutely no drugs coming into our country via water because it was lethal. And now we'll look at cartels. We're going to look very seriously at cartels coming by land.
What do you plan to tell the Department of War in this address? Why gather all the generals in one place for a speech?
Well, this is only an esprit de corps. You know what esprit de corps is? This is only a spirit. We're going to be talking to him. Pete Hegseth is talking right now. I'm going to have to leave because I have to talk to him. But these are our generals, our admirals, our leaders. And it's a good thing. A thing like this has never been done before because they came from all over the world. And there's a little bit of expense, not much, but there's a little expense to that. We don't like to waste it. We'd rather spend it on bullets and rockets, frankly. But this was the one time we had to do a great spiritizing. It's going to be great. I've seen it already. We have every general, every admiral. We have great people. We have our real warriors over there. And when they're not good, when we don't think they're our warriors, you know what happens? We say, you're fired, get out. We had some real bad ones last time. You know, I rebuilt the military, the entire military. But I had a couple, and I had unbelievable people. To do that, you have to. But I had unbelievable people in there. But I also had some bad ones at the top, like Milley and Mattis and that Jesper. I called him too, always too late Jesper. He was horrible. So, but I learned because, you know, I was just in there and I put these people in. They were recommended by rhinos and others, and they're not good. What we have now is the best. But even despite that, I rebuilt the military in my first term. We had a great first term. We had the greatest economy ever, and it's being beaten by a lot this time. So I'm going over. I'm going to be meeting. I'm going to be meeting with generals and with admirals and with leaders. And if I don't like somebody, I'm going to fire them right on the spot.
Is Karen there? And you're watching President Trump taking questions from reporters on his way to Virginia. He says he's going to give Hamas 3 to 4 days to respond to the peace deal he and Israel have proposed. And asked about potential strikes on Venezuela, he said, we'll see what happens. And he defended the major gathering of top generals, saying it's a good thing and it's never been done before. He also said the administration could fire a lot of people if the government shuts down. And now we've got senior national policy reporter Ann Flaherty. So, Ann, what are you watching for as the president prepares to speak to those top generals? And the president had some pretty astonishing words saying he would fire them. He could fire some of them if they don't agree.
Right. And Selena, I think it's important to note that he was a last-minute addition, that when news of this meeting had first leaked, it was really just supposed to be Hegseth having this eye-to-eye conversation with his commanders, clearly to say that we're going to remove the guardrails. We're not going to go after you for allegations of, quote, toxic leadership, he said. You know, political correctness is out the door. That's a message that President Trump is probably going to, you know, as he indicated there, that he really is on board with. He thinks that that speaks to a big section of the American public. We think that he's going to piggyback on that. He's probably going to riff. I don't imagine that he'll have set remarks. I'm told he's going to speak for about 45 minutes. We at the Pentagon are expecting any moment a flurry of memos to be released, spelling out some of these ideas that Hegseth talked about, including restructuring that Inspector General office, that's the internal watchdog office, that is investigating him for misuse of classified material. So really an interesting approach there, saying that I'm going to dismantle the watchers, the internal investigators. It's going to be a new era at the Defense Department.
Yeah, and Ann, you had been reporting about this potential meeting for several days, but I didn't get confirmation from the White House until later Sunday that the president would be attending. So interesting that this is a later edition. And I also want to bring in our White House correspondent, Karen Travers. Now, President Trump said the administration could fire a lot of federal workers if the government shuts down. Is this more than a threat to get Democrats to fold? What is at stake here?
Selena, they have not been afraid to fire government workers. We saw that earlier this year when they went through that process of reorganizing the federal government and downsizing at agencies across the board, even trying to eliminate different departments and agencies within departments. So I don't think people should consider this just a threat at this point, because we've seen them go through with plans like this before. But this was a memo last week from the Office of Management and Budget saying that if there is a government shutdown, they're going to take a really hard look at employees that are considered non-essential, and also look at programs that don't match up with what they believe is their agenda right now. And if they consider things to be non-essential and not worth the cost, they would consider firing employees. That could happen during the shutdown. There are, of course, legal questions about this. There were legal questions about the firing of federal employees throughout the entire process over these last several months. But this is something that is very much on the table that has many people worried here in Washington.
Yeah, and Karen, you and I have talked about possible shutdowns many times before, but that is what makes this one so different, the possibility of those mass firings. So Ann Flaherty and Karen Travers, thank you both. We'll be checking back with you.